there's no student coming to, or buying UPSA forms or coming to the school, then UPSA is not UPSA. So that is what it means. They can just boycott your product. Sometimes some pressure group can just come and dent your image, and that is it. Customers will not want to deal with you again because they think that socially you are irresponsible. So that is a legitimacy theory, that the society has that power to determine who should survive, who should exist, who should operate within the environment. Good. All right. So we also go ahead and talk about some implications of CSR. I guess as for this one, all of us should be able to talk about a number of them. If I should ask about some benefit that were near to a firm that embark on corporate social responsibility. So I'm not going to waste time on this. And I know that at any point in time when you are asked, or in essence, when you are asked, or in any place when somebody engages you in a discussion about the benefit of embarking on corporate social responsibility, even for now that you have a broader understanding of CSR, I think you should be able to say a number of benefits that were near to your company. So that is the implications. But just to go through some of the points we have on the slides briefly, we talk about the fact that it will lead to better risk management, gain government approval, because most of the CSR activities that you'll be doing, you are rather helping the government of the day. So you find out that sometimes government will want to partner you, they will give you recommendations, sometimes they will approve what you are doing, and that can enhance your image. Stronger reputation, yes, we all know about this. Improve productivity. And again, even if you take only improve productivity, you can expand this point. You can talk about increased customer base. You can talk about increased customer loyalty. You can talk about improved productivity, increase in sales revenue, increased profitability, and you can just go on and on and on and be talking about some more points. A firm that also embark on corporate social responsibility can also be the basis for attracting and retaining and developing some managerial talent. Some people want to feel good working with a firm that is seen as socially responsible, and that alone can be enough for you to attract some good customers, employees. Yes, I've talked about ethics briefly, but ethical issues are the principles of conduct within organization that guides decision-making and behavior. Under ethics, in the new edition of the book that I will take you to when I'm done with getting you to understand the course, I will go back to the new edition of the book and then add certain information. Over there, we will learn about some of the measures that we have been put in place internally to facilitate ethics. That one of them is what we call whistleblowing. I hope we have heard about whistleblowing before. Such that if there's something that is being done internally that is not right, someone can, make that information available or known to the appropriate authorities so that it will be dealt with. But basically, we are talking about the principles of conduct within organization that guide decision-making and behavior. So you find out that firms will come out with a document called Code of Ethics. Code of Ethics. And within that Code of Ethics, a number of things are spelled out as to the do's and don'ts that we think can preserve the image of the particular company we work for. All right. So examples of non-ethical actions. We are highlighting only the non-ethical, but the ethical ones are also there. We talk about misleading advertisements. You know very clearly what you are saying that the product can do in your advert is not true. It's misleading. It is unethical. Insider training, giving information out that will inure to the benefit of some individuals who transact with the company, especially firms that are listed, and some key event that are about to happen in the company. Some individuals will leak that information so that people can trade their shares within that company. It's very bad. You don't do that. Tax evasion, financial malfeasance, chopping money is unethical. producing substandard goods is unethical. You know that this product doesn't meet the standard. You know that some of the ingredients or chemicals that you are using is substandard, but you still go ahead and use that. Okay, so that is it about CSR and ethics in summary. At this point that you know what your mission is, what your vision is, issues of corporate social responsibility, issues of what remains ethical or not, we have come to a very good stage to then analyze what is happening around us, which is analyze our environment. So if I have to take you back to the model, I can show you where we are now. Where is the model? I saw one here not long ago. Where is it? Oh, wow, is that fine? Okay, I saw one here. All right. So we have established our vision and mission, and I have brought in the issue of CSR here, CSR. But if you look at the model, CSR is at the top here, it's here. So it means that something we consider as part of the entire framework, but I've come to talk about it. So what we are going to do is to now analyze the environment, both external and then internal. That is what we are coming to do now. Then we'll go ahead to talk about establishing our strategic objectives. We look at how to select strategies, generate and select strategies, how to implement the strategies, and how to measure or evaluate those strategies. You have to really pay attention and follow this lecture, because I am taking you through processes and you have to understand that process. And when I finish, I will summarize everything and some other things will be added, just so you are not confused. That is how come I have decided to hold on with some issues. Then when we are finished with a clear understanding of the flow, I will come back and then introduce those things for you to get the full picture of everything that you need, especially towards your exams. Good. So let me go back to analysis of the environment. And we are starting with the internal environment. So on the model, you saw external environment as the first one before you go to internal environment. But again, I am starting with the internal environment, and I have a reason for that. Let me explain that to you so that you can appreciate it. So I'm going to draw 3 circles. So that's the first one. And then I'm drawing the second one as well. All right. So we are assuming these 2 circles constitute a firm's environment. Let me open the second one a little bit. Yeah, let me open it so that you can appreciate what I'm going to do. Okay. So the one that I'm crossing now is the firm's internal environment. Internal environment. Good. That's the firm's internal environment. That is within the firm. Within the firm. So within UPSA. Within the UPSA environment is what we refer to as internal environment. When you enter a UPSA, the setup, the systems, the structures, the processes, the operational activities, everything falls within the internal environment of the university. And then this is the space, the bigger space here is the external environment outside the UPSA. Things that happen outside the UPSA, which is our external environment. But so we talk about internal and external, take note. But then we can recategorize the external into 2. So that is why I left this space big like that. So I'm going to divide the external into 2. So I'm drawing another in between. So now the external has become 2. And we refer to this very first one as immediate external environment. Immediate external environment. Immediate external environment. Good. We also refer to it as industry environment. Industry. So the same thing is also called industry environment. All right. So we have the internal now, we have the industry, which is the same as immediate external environment. Then we have the very other one that is at the end here, and that one is called the remote external environment. Remote external environment. Good. Did you have a clear picture of what I've described on your screen right now?
Yes.
Are you following? Are you following?
Yes, sir.
Good. I need you to pay attention at this point, because if you get to understand what I'm doing here, you would appreciate everything we are going to discuss on the environment. And environmental analysis is quite broad. It's going to take us some amount of time to finish that. So pay attention to the introductory that I'm doing here, and you'll be fine. Good. So I am coming back to the internal. Take note. The reason why we do analysis of the environment in strategic management is this. We have said that we are going to do this so that we can select strategies and then we can implement the strategies. Is that not the case? If you look at the model, that is the case. But for us to be able to select which strategy to pursue, we should understand how this environment influences our decision. And if we know how this environment influences our decision, then we can decide what to do within each space of the environment. So number one, within the very internal environment, this very internal environment, the very first one, we are saying that we have total control over that internal environment in terms of decision, in terms of resources, in terms of whatever. We have total control. Let me use someone as example here right now. Who do I use? Let me see the class. Some of you, your index numbers are not attached to your, how do you call it? Your name. You have to do that. I will take attendance, so you have to do that. So please, if you know your index number is not attached, ensure you have changed that. All right. Josephine Tete, are you with me? Is Josephine here?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Okay, Jose, are you still at home or you are around campus now?
Sir, I'm around campus.
In a hostel or the school hostel?
In a hostel, but not the school hostel, please.
Good. Back home, are you with your parents or?
I'm with my parents, please.
Okay. Okay. Now, the point I want to make is that if you take Josephine as an example here, concerning Josephine as Josephine, okay, she has total control over her internal environment. That is to say that no one can control her, not even her parents, because at a particular age, even your parents cannot control you again. Even more so now that she's around UPSA, now that she's in a hostel, realize that if Josephine decides to, eat anything that she feels like eating, nobody can tell her that she shouldn't eat it. She can decide to go where she wants to. In fact, this lecture, some of your colleagues are not in the class because they have decided not to join the class. They think that, yes, this is me. I decide what to do. This is me. This is Josephine. Who cares if I want to? I don't want to sleep at home. I want to come to a hostel, or I won't even sleep in my hostel tonight. I want to go and sleep in a friend's hostel. Internally, she has that absolute and total control of herself. So that is to say that UPSA internally can decide what to do within that internal space, that we want to cancel this program. We want to postpone lectures. We want to introduce a new program. We want to sack this lecturer. We want to push these resources into building AstroTech instead of building a hospital. You want to, I mean, internally, you can decide whatever you want to do. Does the class get this clear understanding?
Yes, sir.
So when we are taking that strategic decision, we do that with the understanding that so far as our internal environment is concerned, we can decide to do whatever we want to do. Good. But it doesn't end there. We all wish it would have been like that, but it doesn't end there. If it were like that, that it would have been fantastic, but it would have been quite dangerous and disastrous. But the reason why it doesn't end there is that there's another environment, which we have called it what? Immediate external environment or industry environment. Now, within that environment, within that particular environment, the firm has partial control. Partial control. That is to say that the firm has control, but to some extent, you don't have total control. You have some level of control. So Josephine could have decided not to come for the lectures today. She could have decided not to even write the exams. She could have decided not to write my IA. I mean, a lot of things that she could have decided to do, but then she doesn't have that full control over there. If you forever assent your class in my lecture, I can even stop you from writing the exams. I hope you know there's a clear rule or a regulation on that. That if you absent yourself in a class, you can be stopped from writing that paper. So you have to come for lectures, you have to sign attendance sheet, so you realize that within that particular environment, even though you can control, but not to a large extent. So here, in the sense of a company, we are talking about suppliers, we are talking about other competitive firms, we are talking about how do you call it? Distributors. We are talking about some agencies. You can have some level of control, even customers. So in the case that I was using Josephine as an example as a customer, UPSA can control her, but not fully. So even customers, we can control them, but customers too can also decide what they want to do at a point in time. So we take decision with that understanding within that environment. Then finally, we come to the remote external environment, this particular one, the very last phase. Here, the firm has no control, absolutely no control. You cannot influence anything within this environment. The only thing you can do, because you have no control, the only thing you can do when you are taking decision is to take decision that will help you to what? Adapt to the changes within that environment. Adapt to the changes within that environment. So Josephine cannot control what is happening within the country. Fuel prices are going up, she cannot control it. Technology is taking over, she cannot control it. Unemployment is going high, she cannot control it. A demand is shifting from some product to another, she cannot control. The only thing she can do is that as she goes through UPSA, she must also try to do things that will help her adapt to the changes occurring in that environment, so that when she finishes school, she will not be found wanting. She can find something to do. That is about the remote external environment. So what, in the context of organization, what we are saying is that we take strategic decisions that will help us adapt to the changes within that environment, rather than to think that we can change anything there. So here, we will look at some of the factors that are happening there that we cannot change. But let me come to the internal again. The internal, we are going to use SWOT analysis to look at that, but with emphasis on strength and weakness. Strength and weakness. Opportunities and threats are of the external environment, so we will not emphasize it. But we are interested in how we can use our strength to take advantage of opportunities our strength to take advantage of opportunity, how we can also overcome our weakness by using some opportunities, or how we can use our strength to minimize the threat, or how we can minimize our weakness whilst avoiding some threat. And that will be done in a matrix later called SWOT matrix. But that is to say that we will do a bit of SWOT here. We will look at what we call resource-based view. Resource-based view. We will use the resource-based view to also analyze this internal environment. Then we will use what we call value chain analysis, VCA, to also analyze this internal environment. So take note, these are the tools we will be using there. There's also IFE, internal factor evaluation metrics. Internal factor evaluation metrics. We will look at that as well. Okay, good. Let me come to the immediate external or the industry environment where we have partial control. Over there, we are using what we call Porter's 5 forces. I hope we have heard it before. Have you heard it before? Porter's 5 forces. Have you heard it before?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So we use the Porter's 5 forces to analyze the industry environment. And finally, the remote external environment where we have no control. We will use the PESTEL framework to analyze that. I hope we have also heard PESTEL before. We have used it before.
Yes, sir, we have.
Yes, sir.
Good. So we will use the PESTEL to also analyze the remote external environment. So class, this is an introductory aspect of the environmental analysis. And that is everything we are going to do is what I have summarized here right now for you. I hope you understand everything that I've said here.
Yes, sir, we did.
Good.
Yes, sir.
All right, then we can proceed to look at the internal environment now. All right. So just some few remarks. We are saying that internal strengths and weaknesses coupled with internal strengths and weaknesses coupled with external opportunities and threats and a clear vision and mission statement provides the basis for establishing objectives and strategies. So this is bringing us to speed with what we are talking about. They are knowing your internal strengths and weaknesses, knowing your external opportunities and threats. And that's what I said, that with the internal analysis, we are going to know our strengths and weaknesses. Then with the external analysis, that is from the industry through to the remote, or from immediate external through to the remote external, we are going to know our opportunities and threats. This statement is saying that knowing your strengths and weaknesses, understanding your opportunities and threats, and having a clear vision and mission, which is something we have dealt with already, will form the basis for establishing your objectives. Not just any objectives, but your strategic objectives, which is long-term. Without doing these ones, it will be difficult for you to set objective as to what you want to do in the future. But when you know your strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats, you know your vision, you have your mission, then you can set the objectives that you want to achieve in the long term. Yes, Ernest Dankwa.
Yes, sir. Just that I'm a bit confused about using internal audit instead of internal environment.
Please, it's the same thing. You are auditing the internal environment.
All right.
Auditing the internal environment is the same as analyzing the internal environment.
Thank you, sir.
So it's the same thing, internal environmental analysis or internal environment audit. All right, good. Thank you too. So we are saying that objectives and strategies are established with the intention of capitalizing on internal strength and overcoming weaknesses. I think I've mentioned that already. Let's go into the various tools that we can use to analyze the internal environment. And frankly speaking, I'm going to run through the SWOT because I think that there's nothing there that anybody can tell me that they don't know in terms of strength and weakness. All that you are trying to do, just hold on for a second, just a second. All right, class, please, let's continue. So let's go through the SWOT. Very simple. We all know what SWOT is, an acronym for strength, opportunities, and threat. We know what strength are. So like I said, I'm not going to spend time on this. I mean, strength is something that firm is good at or something that is giving it important capability. I'll come and explain capability when we get to resource-based view. Just to say that something that you can do better than that of your competitors. That is your strength. So take note of that. So practically, I can just ask you to take a firm and just list the strength of the firm and weakness of the firm. But note, it is always relative. It is not like something that the firm do not have at all. It could be something that they have, but relatively they are not better than their competitors. Then that becomes a weakness. But something that relatively you can say they are better than their competitors, then that becomes a strength. So if I say do a SWOT analysis of UPSA and Legon, you are just comparing the two to say that in terms of land, it's a strength of Legon. In terms of infrastructure, maybe 21st century infrastructure, then the strength is UPSA. In terms of image, UPSA has a strength. In terms of maybe number of programs, then Legon is a strength. So whichever one is a strength to this becomes a weakness to the other because we are looking at it in relative terms. So that is what you do. So you can talk about weakness as well. So in the IFE, which is the internal factor evaluation metric, that's what you'll be doing. You will be listing some strength and some weakness of a chosen firm, and then based on that, you will identify their you will give them some weight and some scores, and then we're able to come out with a total score. You go and do assignment on IFE, so you know how to do it. Good. So, like I said, we don't have to talk about opportunities and threats here because it's part of the external environment issues. So even though it is SWOT, it is not necessary for us to go into the opportunities and threats now. It will confuse a number of you because these are external environmental issues that we'll be talking about. We are talking about internal environment. All right, so some limitations of SWOT that we can take a look at later. All right, so we can move on to the next two, which is the resource-based view. Any question on the SWOT, on the strength weakness issue? Any question? All right, so let me test the class quickly on something. We are doing this in 5 minutes, not 10 minutes. So let me do it this way. I'm going to do a breakout rooms. Each group will take 10 minutes. You take don't use UPSA, don't use Legon, any other company. Do a quick list of number of strength. I think 5 should do 5 strengths, 5 weakness. 5 strengths, 5 weakness. That it will take time. So do 3 strengths, 2 weakness. Yeah, let me reduce it so that I can finish quickly. 3 strengths, 2 weakness for your choosing company, and then you just come and mention it quickly. Just the group leader will mention them, then we move on. So I'm doing a breakaway. All of you will be put into groups. Say a group of group of 5. I have exactly 50 people. So in a group of 5, we are 10 in that group. So I'm creating the group right now.